Nick Woltemade has completed his Newcastle medical ahead of a £69 million move from Stuttgart, and they may not be finished there. Does this open the door for a world record move to Liverpool for Alexander Isak? We'll have the latest on the transfer saga of the summer. Yeah, could well be still that British transfer record broken should Isak depart St James's Park and sign at Anfield. Good afternoon, welcome along to the Transfer Show. This time on Monday, we will have just 3 hours to go until the window shuts. There is still plenty of time for deals to be done.
On a scale of 1 to 100, how much are you looking forward to it closing, the window closing?
101.
It's nice for him to have another number 9.
Somebody that has to come and take that crown away from them.
Want Kobe to stay. He needs to fight for his place, and we need Kobe.
Can you confirm the signing of Xavi Simons?
I can confirm that we're working very hard.
It's been reported today that Alejandro Garnacho is undergoing a medical here at the club. Can you confirm those reports?
I know that he is around here.
I think it's not possible at the moment to find a marquee replacement.
We are not finished, no, and the club is working on adding more players.
Don't ask me about the rumours and the potential rivals or potential flies, so next week.
It's amazing. We prepared this show, we have a meeting at 2 o'clock, and by the time we get to 4 o'clock, everything's changed because of the stories that have been developing in the last hour or so. As you can see, Chief Reporter Carve Soloko and James Vandrew are here alongside me. But let's get straight to it with Newcastle. They've been searching all summer to find a striker, more recently as a potential replacement for Alexander Isak, and now they're on the brink of getting their man. It is the German international, Nick Woltemade.
Positive signs. I think things are moving and developing in a good way at the moment. So until things are done, can't confirm anything. But yeah, fingers crossed. I think the last month really has been the same. It's been relentless. This has been a demanding window in lots of different ways. The work going in has been detailed. It has to be. We have to try and bring the right players to the football club, and there's been a big effort from everyone behind the scenes to try and achieve that. So as I said earlier, we look like we're getting closer, but nothing is signed yet. But it's certainly moving in the right direction.
On a scale of 1 to 100, how much are you looking forward to it closing, the window closing?
101.
All right, James, let me come to you first on Nick Woltemade. Yeah, it's nice to see Eddie Howe smiling for once. It's not been that often this transfer window. Is he a Newcastle player yet?
Not quite yet. He's completed his medical. He's at St James's Park right now, completing the move to Newcastle United. Finally, it looks like Newcastle United have signed a striker. They've been searching for strikers for so long. Go back to June, they tried to sign João Pedro. They've been in the market for Brian Mbeumo as well. They've seen Hugo Ekitike go to Liverpool. Benjamin Sesko has gone to Manchester United. They've got Nick Woltemade. It's not clear whether or not he'll be registered in time to play against Leeds tomorrow. I think Eddie Howe made clear they've probably not been able to get that done in time. So tomorrow we wait to see who starts up front for Newcastle, because we know Anthony Gordon is out suspended. But this is a really exciting signing. We can't say that he was top of the priority list in terms of where they were looking for strikers this summer, but he's a player that Bayern Munich targeted this summer. It's a good deal for Stuttgart. They signed him as a free agent last summer. They're about to make more than £64 million to sign him, but a very, very exciting striker. His former captain at Stuttgart referred to him as the 2-metre Messi Musiala. He's 1 metre, 98 centimetres, but he's got a brilliant touch for a big man. He was brilliant in the Euros.
Do you know what? Here's the thing, right? Just on that, really, sorry to interrupt you, but there are so many big strikers now who actually have got decent touches. It's almost like that sort of description.
Are there any big strikers who have bad touches?
Yeah, it's almost like he's got a bad touch for a big man. Are there any of those?
In the old days, not in the modern game.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you finish, James. You're in a flow.
I think this is definitely a really exciting signing. We saw him in the Euros, the under-21 Euros. He's the top scorer, played against England in that final. I think he's a player that has plenty of growth as well. He's not reached his peak, but neither of the likes of Ekitike and Sesko, I think there's a feeling that they can get to their very peak in the Premier League. And actually, one thing to note, 4 of the top 10 scorers in the Bundesliga last season will now be playing in the Premier League, if you conclude Omar Mamouche as well. So very close to finalising this deal. Newcastle finally have a striker, and what implications will that have when it comes to Johan Wissa, Jürgen Strand-Larsen and Alexander Isak, which I'm sure you're going to get onto.
Yeah, we absolutely will too. Yes, 2 metre Messi Musiala, which is a bit of a handful to say. Of course, we mentioned it. I mean, the big question remains, what does this mean for Alexander Isak? Well, Eddie Howe and Arne Slot were both asked about him today. Have a listen to this.
Difficult for me to give you any clarity on the future, Keith. I've said before, I don't know what the future holds in that respect because I'm not dealing with it myself. I've got no update from what I spoke about the other day. I'm concentrating on trying to bring players to the club.
That's very nice for Eddie because Anthony Gordon is suspended and Isak has not been training with the team a lot, so it's nice for him to have another number 9.
What about in general terms, though? How likely do you feel you are
to add to your squad, whether it's another striker, whether it's a centre-up, whatever.
As always, we've tried to sign players that can help us, but there's no reason after the first 2 games to complain or to think we need more. But if we can strengthen the squad, then we will always try to do that if it's for the right money and it's the right player.
OK, Kave, so with 3 days and 3 hours to go till the deadline, where are we at with Alexander Isak potentially moving to Liverpool?
I think it's looking a little bit more likely because Newcastle United have signed a striker, but I think they need to sign 2 strikers. And then, of course, Liverpool would have to come in for Isak again. And if you look at the way Liverpool operate in the transfer market, they're very, very disciplined. They've got a brilliant recruitment, data department. They work out exactly how much they believe a player is worth. And by and large, they stick to that valuation. So I'm not expecting, if Liverpool do come back in for him, for them to make £150 million offer. They've already made it clear that they were, at the start of the month, prepared to pay a record fee for the player. So I don't think they're going to break the bank. But, of course, we have to wait and see what Newcastle do now, because I don't think they're going to stop at just buying one forward if they're preparing the way for Isak to leave.
Yeah, how do you feel their stance has maybe changed over the last couple of days or so?
Well, look, they're working flat out behind the scenes to sign 2 forwards. They've got 1 in. I think they would still like to sign Jurgen Strand-Larsen from Wolves or Yohan Wissa from Brentford. Obviously, they've made bids for those players. It's been difficult to hammer out a deal for either of them. But according to our reporter in Newcastle, of course, who's followed this story very, very closely and everything to do with Newcastle, Keith Downey, he is still telling us this afternoon that Newcastle are going to try very hard to sign either Strand-Larsen or Yohan Wissa.
And that's quite interesting because last night on the transfer show we were reporting that it seemed likely that they'd move on from signing Strand-Larsen now because he fits a very similar profile to Woltemade in terms of the height and in terms of the attributes he has. So it felt like Yohan Wissa was going to be the other striker that Newcastle would look to bring in. But we understand both players remain possibilities, Wissa and Strand-Larsen. Newcastle have already had 2 bids rejected for both players. They had that £40 million bid rejected for Yohan Wissa last week. We know he's not going to play for Brentford this weekend, but Brentford are still planning on him being there after Monday night. As for Jurgen Strand-Larsen, a bid rejected on Wednesday night as he scored 2 goals for Wolves in the Carabao Cup victory over West Ham. I thought it was really interesting. Let's see from Vitor Pereira, because it didn't necessarily shut down any chances of Jurgen Strand-Larsen not being a Wolves player following the end of this transfer window.
In this moment, Jurgen is our player. He's working hard because he has a good personality as a player that is a team player. Everything that we cannot control is out of our control. We cannot lose energy with that. Understand? I understand football. I understand everything. But in this moment is a moment to think about the team.
So at this moment in time, Jurgen Strand-Larsen remains a Wolves player. Important to note as well that Vitor Pereira suggested he had a small injury, which may mean he doesn't play tomorrow for Wolves in their game against Everton. So we wait to see whether or not he's there. If he's not there, it's not necessarily because of transfer speculation.
No,
there is a small injury he's dealing with right now.
Yeah, but it would still add a little bit of fuel to the fire, and we're here for that. OK, let's talk a little bit about Gianluigi Donnarumma. He's been linked, of course, with the move from PSG to Manchester City, Kave. So where are we at with this one?
Well, look, PSG and the players' representatives are working really hard to try and get him a move away from PSG before Monday's deadline. Of course, he's been linked with Manchester City, but we understand that at least one other Premier League club are also interested in signing him in the next 72 hours. Now, the closer we get to the deadline, I think the more attractive a deal is going to become for the club or clubs who are trying to sign him, because they know that PSG have to make sure that he leaves, because they're not going to let him run down his contract and leave on a free transfer next summer, and they haven't been able to agree a new deal. I think ideally the player himself would want to go to a club like Manchester City because of the fact that they're in the Champions League and working with Pep Guardiola as well. But the information we're getting from Manchester City is, yes, they did make an inquiry, but they're not going to be signing another goalkeeper unless Ederson leaves. But City, not the only Premier League club interested in Donnarumma. And if he was to come to the Premier League over the next 3 days, I think he would be the big story of the next few days, because you know, a lot of people think he is the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, as you say, as time ticks on, it's almost like this develops into a little bit of an optical illusion. These doors appear to maybe different destinations. I wonder, Carve, could one of them maybe be Old Trafford, do you think?
Give United fans some hope. They need some hope.
I think...
Or is that door slightly ajar? Is it not?
I'm not
quite
sure.
fully
You know,
in?
sometimes I just feel, you know, no comment is the best comment. I think it's a possibility because Manchester United, even though they're going through a bad time at the moment, I don't have any information that they are trying to sign Donnarumma. You know, the transfer fee is still significant for somebody you could get for nothing next summer. His wages are very, very significant as well. United are not in Europe, but I think if the player had to choose between City and United, most players, of course, at the moment would, of course, choose City.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't totally rule out Manchester United. And I think from PSG's perspective, it's not just about where the player wants to go. It has to be a deal that suits PSG as well. So they don't want to be in a situation where there is only one potential deal on the table.
OK, let's move on to Tottenham, shall we? They're close to completing the signing of Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig in a deal worth more than £51 million. Thomas Frank has been teasing Spurs fans a little bit today. Here he is.
Can you confirm the signing of Xavi Simons?
I can confirm that we're working very hard to get someone over the line. That I can confirm. But right now, I'm happy to speak more about Jet and other players that are inside the Tottenham squad.
OK, there's nerves because of obviously other deals, but do you think the fans potentially might get good news later today then?
I hope they get good news later today for various reasons, because we are trying to sign players, and that we will try to do to the end of the transfer window.
Well, James, Tottenham have been admittedly the victim of hijacks this summer. Is there a chance now that they've got one over Chelsea with Xavi Simons?
Well, he's definitely a player that was interest for Chelsea. They've been considering it all summer, but Chelsea are in a situation right now where they need to sell before they buy. It looks like Christopher Nkunku is going to go to AC Milan, but last night Chelsea were in a situation where they were considering going in with a bid for Xavi Simons, but they've decided to leave it on this occasion. So it does look like Spurs are going to get their man. It's worth noting Thomas Frank delayed his press conference by an hour, so Michael Bridge had to wait for an hour before he posed that question to Thomas Frank, and Thomas Frank wasn't able to confirm that, but he did say some good news is coming. It does look like he's going to come in and be a Spurs player. I'm not sure whether or not he'd have been registered in time to play this weekend, but what a huge boost it is for Tottenham, because they went in for Beretta, he went to Arsenal, they went in for Morgan Gibbs-White, he stayed at Nottingham Forest,
yeah.
But it looks like Xavi Simons is going to become a Tottenham player. They've been desperate to sign a number 10, and he's one of the best ones in Europe right now.
OK, let's talk Chelsea. I mean, I suppose semi-hijacking this also in the same scenario with Facundo Buonanotte, because the signs were Leeds were in pole position for Facundo Buonanotte from Brighton, and now Chelsea are in the mix. Tell us more, Carve.
Yeah, this one has come out of left field. Actually, I think it's come out of Fabrizio Romano, who first reported it this afternoon. But really a strange one. Nobody was talking about Chelsea going for Buonanotte, but they are in talks to sign him. It is a straight loan deal, no obligation, no option. And Chelsea are now the favourites to get him ahead of clubs like Leeds United and Borussia Dortmund. Of course, Chelsea have a really, really good relationship with Brighton. I'm going to have to go and check the number out, but I think over the past 2 or 3 years, 16, 17, 18 players or members of staff have moved from Brighton
I was going to say players,
Chelsea.
Yes, we'll say, including members of staff.
I think it's 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a well-trodden path from Brighton to Chelsea. I think from Brighton's perspective, they want the player to go out on loan to get some more experience. He was on loan at Leicester City, and he's also somebody who can play as a number 10. That is something that Chelsea are looking for. One of the reasons they were trying to sign Xavi Simons. Also, could this be a move made because they're aware that Cole Palmer is injured? I know he's not going to feature tomorrow. He's not going to be involved in the England squad either. We have to wait and see how serious his injury is. But maybe in the short term, they're thinking we need to bring a number 10 in, and financially, this makes sense because it's just a straight loan.
And talking of attacking creative players, Alejandro Garnacho to Stamford Bridge. What's the latest on that one?
I think that's basically done. We said last night that a fee was agreed, £40 million. Enzo Maresca was asked about him today at Chelsea's training ground. Maresca said, yes, he's here. I don't know where he is. So you'd imagine he's having his medical, which he was due to have today. Once that's done, he'll do all his media in-house media, with Chelsea, and then we're expecting the official announcement, as long as there are no issues with the medical.
OK, so that one looks like it is on the tracks. Thank you very much indeed for the moment, Carve and James. And on the way, bold comments from Oliver Glasner regarding the future of Mark Guéhi, and Ruben Amorim opens up on the situation surrounding Kobbie Mainoo. This is the Transfer Show. We're back in a couple of minutes. Liverpool fans, listen up. This one may not go your way. Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner believes it's too late for Mark Guéhi to leave the club. Guéhi has been a target for Liverpool this summer, but Glasner thinks that a move is no longer possible with just 3 days remaining until this summer window closes.
From my side, and it's Friday and the window closes on Monday, he has to. He has to, because it's not possible, or I think it's not possible at the moment, to find a Mark Guéhi replacement who can play straight in the Premier League, being a starter for Crystal Palace, being consistent. And when we see, I think, our foundation, or the foundation of the success we had in the last couple of months, and also the foundation of going into the group stage, is our defence.
OK, so, Carbe, what's your understanding of the Mark Guéhi situation as we stand with 3 days to go?
Well, Oliver Glasner is being very, very clear there. Mark Guéhi is not leaving. He has to stay at Crystal Palace. Now, Glasner is very close to Mark Guéhi. Mark Guéhi is a key player for him. And under absolutely no circumstances does he want Guéhi to leave. And he made that clear. But here's the thing. What happens if Liverpool pick up the phone and make an offer for Mark Guéhi in the next few days? Because then Crystal Palace would have a big decision to make, because Steve Parish, the chairman, has made it very, very clear they cannot afford to let Mark Guéhi leave for nothing next summer. And I think behind the scenes, Crystal Palace have been working to identify potential replacements. So if Guéhi was to leave, lots of ifs here, if he was to leave, I'm sure Crystal Palace would get replacement in anyway.
Yeah, there has been some good news for Crystal Palace, hasn't there?
Yeah, finally, they've made their third summer signing. They've waited a long time for this one, but Yeremy Pino is now a Crystal Palace player. This announced this afternoon. He signed a 5-year deal after moving from Villarreal, £26 million for the Spanish international, and his record in terms of goal contributions at Villarreal, really, really impressive. 45 goal contributions in 175 appearances. He helps fill the void left by Iber Eze. Clearly, it's going to be impossible to do that on his own, but he's one of a number of players they've looked at in attacking areas, but they are very excited about this player. Plays in a very similar area to the pitch as Iber Eze, but clearly a slightly different player.
Yeah. Any more incomings due at Selhurst Park, James?
There will be. We were reporting yesterday that there could be as many as 4 or 5 incomings, especially if Mark Guéhi was to depart. That's not the information we have right now, but they're very interested in signing Christoph Baumgartner from RB Leipzig. He's an attacking midfielder, an Austrian that Oliver Glasner would love to bring to Selhurst Park. The only difficulty is, we spoke about Xavi Simons. Well, he was a teammate of Baumgartner at RB Leipzig, and it feels unlikely at this stage RB Leipzig would want to let both of them go in this transfer window. So one to watch, but Palace really interested in signing him. At the same time, we mentioned Mark Guéhi replacements. Well, Crystal Palace are looking to sign a centre-back anyway. If Guéhi was to depart, they'll sign 2. They're going to sign a young centre-back. That's their hopes. And the player they're looking at right now, JD Camvot from Toulouse. Now, the two clubs, Crystal Palace and Toulouse, are very close when it comes to an agreement. It now appears that it's up to the player whether or not he wants to move to Crystal Palace or not. It's understood he's turned down a number of Premier League clubs already, and there may be some big clubs in Europe that may try to sign him next summer. So we wait to see whether or not he is tempted to move to Selhurst Park this summer. And that move isn't linked to Mark Guéhi. They're going to try and sign 2 centre-backs if Guéhi was to depart, but definitely one to watch for the future. OK, let's move on to Manchester United. They've spent big this transfer window. Still work to be done on getting players out of the club. Ruben Amorim gave us this update on Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund.
Until it's official, I cannot say much. I want Kobbie to stay. He needs to fight for his place, and we need Kobbie. So that is not going to change. The rest, I don't know how he's going to finish. I understand that the players that are not playing in this moment are disappointed, but everyone has the same. Will have the same opportunity to play. You have to fight during the week.
From United to Brentford, big news coming out of the G-Tech. What's happening, James?
Big bid has gone into Borussia Dortmund for Max Bayer, a bid in the region of £45 million. It's now on the table. It's up to Dortmund to decide. Brentford haven't been shy in terms of spending money this summer. A lot of money's come in, of course, from selling Brian Mbeumo. They've got Dango Ouattara for more than £40 million from Bournemouth. But we wait to see what happens here. We know that they're looking to sign a striker, and what could happen if they get Max Bayer in? What could that mean for Johan Wissa?
Yeah, and also Marco Asensio. Potentially, could he return to Villa Park again on loan? We will see. We'll discuss that one in more.